wanted to go into the ballroom scene and you was always shy or whatever, it gives you that courage to say, I don't give a fuck, I'm here. Like, you become that persona. So people use it to do that. I also knew there was times where, for instance, I was working doubles. And I knew that if I did this drug, I would be up all night party, and then I can go the next day to work and not worry about it. Like, this is another reason also why I did it. So there's all these reasons why people sort of get into it. And it's all to sort of, I guess, boost themselves.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right, next up on the list, all the way to the end. Mr. Monty Rivers, please, you would like to share your story.
I did not know that.
And we partied.
Oh yes, we have. Oh yes. Shut up. I know many of you in this room. I haven't seen some of you in almost a whole year and a half. And I know there were a lot of questions being raised as to, well, where's Monty, or where's Ballroom named Prince Garcon, where's Prince? I was in rehab. I was in rehab from September the 7th, 2017, until currently. I'm still there. I'm still in recovery. I'm still in treatment. I was getting high on crystal meth for 2 years. Now, many of you who know me primarily from clubbing. Right? Raise your hand if you've been with me in the club somewhere. Yeah. See, yeah. And so, you all know very well that just like with any type of club or any type of album that you go to, especially in the scene, there are services involved, right? But one thing that I learned based upon experience with crystal meth is that people normally don't start with crystal meth. You migrate to it. And so I have done coke, I have done Molly, I have done Special K, I have done all of these things. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I have done a lot of these things with a lot of people, okay? My issue was that, being an addiction, being an addict, we are extremists. So whereas though your party may end at 6 a.m., I didn't want mine to end at 6 a.m. I wanted to show everyone that, we can keep this going. This doesn't have to necessarily end right now. And so eventually, after doing all these other things, I can handle coke, I can handle alcohol, I can handle weed, I can handle Molly, I can handle Special K. Let's try this. And one thing that I had a hard time comprehending was, well, why do the coke girls say that the Tina girls, it's so demonized? Well, we can do this, but no, we can't do that. That isn't acceptable. You know what I mean? A 20 is a 20. Come on. Okay? So a drug is a drug is a drug. And I'm gonna step on some toes even in this room, and that's okay. But you can't make one thing okay and then another thing an issue. How do you sit with your house kids and say, well, come on, it's the after hours, the ball is done, well, we can go ahead and get lit, go get a bag right quick, But then when they want to go get their services, it's like, oh no, you can't do that in my house. How does that work? How does that work? So anyway, so moving forward, I've had my experience with it. September 7th marked 1 year clean and sober free. Thank you. And my approach is a little different. I took a more spiritual approach to my recovery. I firmly believe that addiction is a lie from the enemy. That I really do. And so I know religion, and especially within our community, is a very touchy subject. But that is what saved me. It doesn't work for everybody, I know that. People have their own opinions about it, but that is how I was able to overcome it. I am not a a doctor, I am not a therapist or a psychologist. I'm not going to give you numbers from the CDC and all this stuff. I just have raw experience as to how this thing works, what it does, and let this be living proof of this panel that it can be overcome. So.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Ms. Shalice Green. If you'd like, please share your story.
I'm probably the most unfamiliar face on this panel, even though I know many of you, and I'm having a whole fangirl moment. I did play around with the women's scene for a few years. I was in the household, I believe, Ben was my household. I am a recovering alcoholic. I started drinking at the age of 12. That was about 2 years before the first time I kissed a girl. So before I even knew I liked girls, I knew that I liked to drink. My mother was a heroin addict, and that had a very deep effect on my coping mechanisms and my behaviors, because when I drank and when I did use, I used like a dopamine. So I took it to excess. One drink was never enough for me. And I did do a lot of things to embarrass myself, embarrass my friends. I was that friend who would not only stumble out of the club drunk, but might drop her purse, walk away from it, and you might have to come pick up my shit for me. Yes, so I was that girl, the girl that you just, we would start pre-gaming, and I never quite made it to the club because I would pass out in the house. So that was me. And 2 years ago, I realized that I was probably going to die before 30 because I was killing myself. I had become isolated. I wasn't going to work. I was supposed to be caring for my grandmother who was dying, but her illness took a back seat to my partying. I had withdrawn to the four walls of my bedroom. I didn't want to leave my house. And it was becoming really, really, really bad. I was doing things that hurt my family. Financial abuse and active addiction is a thing. Like, we do steal, especially money, because we have to get one more drink. We have to get one more drug. When I realized that my family wasn't going to give me the help that I need, then I reached out to my father, who was a recovery addict, still in recovery for 34 years. I reached out to him and let him know I'm ready. I'm ready. So I've been sober for 2 years. I am a recovery advocate, and what that means to me is that I provide peer support to people who are in active addiction and early recovery, meaning that, as we stated at the beginning, and in the previous session as well, some people aren't there yet. They might realize that they have a problem, but they don't know what they want to do about it yet, because especially in our community, we like to party, we like to have fun, and our idea of fun often includes drinking, and it often includes drugs. Like, people who abuse drugs know that drugs are fun. It's a lot of fun. But when you're using drugs and alcohol to fill voids, to fill holes in your life, a lot of us in our community are still feeling the effects of deep-rooted trauma, things that we can't shake off. And when you're using drugs and alcohol to kind of medicate those wounds, that's where a lot of the issues will come in. That's the difference between a social user who's just out to have a good time and someone who needs to use because they are hurting deeply inside. So that's the perspective that I like to speak from as a Black queer female, and I hope to share more of our stories with you today.
Two things. Let's give our entire panelists applause for being strong enough to come and share their story with us. So now that you guys have shared your story, I want to turn it over to the audience. And at this time, I want to open the floor up for you guys in the crowd to be able to talk to folks. Talk to folks that have been there and have come through on the other side. People on this side of the table. So please, whenever I see your hand already, please feel free. This is usually a subject matter experts. Go ahead.
Well, I guess for me, actually knowing everybody up there, and I just met the young man right here, Jason. I guess for me, it kind of proves that addiction doesn't have a look, because I've sat around everybody there. Monty is actually a close friend of one of my kids, and I never knew. So for me, listening to the stories, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm kind of tearing up in the inside, because as somebody who has sat around all of them, it kind of makes me think, like, what was I missing? Like, what didn't I pick up on? So it's amazing to hear the stories, and I think it's really courageous of you guys to be able to come out and express what have put you in those positions, because I think it allows us now to be able to observe the people who are around us a lot better, because now I really understand that addiction has no look, because I've sat around y'all and I laughed and we had these conversations, and these are things that I never even knew. So even to hear my daughter, you know, like me and her, we used to sit in my house and have a cute drink together. So like to even know that, you know, she considered herself as an alcoholic, it just makes me look at things differently from myself, because everybody who knows me knows like it's down with a bottle. You feel what I'm saying? Stop it. So I look at my life like at one point I thought I was on that, you know, that alcoholic plateau, but then I'm like, oh hell no, I'm going to work every day, I'm taking care of my kids, I'm doing what a man is supposed to do. So I never looked at myself as an alcoholic, but I realized that now it could be so many different stages of addiction, and maybe I never really was willing to accept the fact that I am a damn alcoholic. You know what I mean? I don't know. So it's like this city, I just applaud you guys, and it's heart throbbing right now, so I'm feeling the kind of way that I know
I want to touch on something that you said about what were you missing. Addiction is a very secretive disease, and it's the secret that often will kill us. So I may have had maybe like 2 drinks when we went out, but I would go get a bottle and take that bottle home and drink that whole bottle alone, because I was the type of alcoholic where I didn't really like to get out of control drunk around other people. I was the person who liked to drink alone. Plus, you might try and drink my liquor, which means I have to go out and get more. So, yes, it's a very selfish and secretive disease. So it's not just how we appear around other people, but it's more so about how we alone when no one else is around to stop us from harming ourselves. That's the deepest part of addiction, that it makes you crawl into yourself.
Also, to add to that, I felt like I worked twice as hard to hide what I was doing. Like, it was a work of art for me. I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want, like, even the people I was hanging around with, I didn't want them to know. It was very secretive. So I know that most people that are on crystal, they work extra hard, just like you're working hard to notice what they're doing. They're also working hard to hide anything, so it looks flaws, and it doesn't look like you can see it. So that was one of the things. Like, maybe that's why it's, unless you're so in tune with the person and you really, really know what's going on, then you probably could see it. But if not, we worked so hard to hiding it, and I just thought that was one of the parts that was important, because I don't want people to know. Because then you're going to judge me. You're going to completely just think, oh, I'm a loser, I'm this. I don't want that to be seen, and I didn't want that to be known. But I still wanted this thing to make me feel the way I wanted to feel, you know? So that I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I think on the flip though, there are behavioral things that we can identify as, like, you know, friends that we haven't talked to in a while, you know, people kind of changing up, hanging out with, you know, you've had a friend for so long now, they're claiming this person as their friend and you don't know where they are. Those things that we don't pay attention to. Also, with dealing with crystal meth, it is prevalent on Grindr and Jack. You see it all the time, and no one actually says anything or like gives anybody some type of encouragement and plant seeds of recovery. and we just say, oh, that's just something I'm not into, and then we just scroll by. So we are in this bystander moment of this, and we're not being aware of what's going on, and it's because, you know, crystal meth is on these apps. So I do encourage people to kind of like reach out to people and show a little love, and kind of, you know, even if you see someone on the app, just, you know, if you don't know them, just say hello and you know, I love you. That you might not even know what that means to that person, and they might just block you. But at the end of the day, just know that you're doing a part, you know, to kind of plant seeds in recovery, because it's here and it's happening, and the behaviors are really a real important thing, because yeah, we're not catching that, and it's so yeah.
So that's interesting. But that's the point I wanted to speak to. The idea that, so what drove you to say, okay, I need to get some help, or I need to figure it out? So if you're constantly talking to someone and constantly giving them, you know, a positive encouragement, and trying to, and they are still pushing you away, and then you have other folks over here saying, leave them alone, they need to come to it on their own. Do you stop? Do you stop dealing with, stop talking to them? Was that a problem for you guys, or were there people who were constantly in your ear saying, you know, what's going on with?
I mean, for myself, my friends, my immediate friends, do not do crystal meth. So they were there when, you know, I had the highs, I had the lows, and I'm typically not an aggressive person. So recovering, you know, going through that process was hell. I was super depressed, I was aggressive, you know, just all type of things were just happening with me. My friends never judged me. I sat there and cried on their shoulder and everything like that, and they just was like, baby, it's gonna be okay. You know, so we have to be there for our friends, and although it might get old, you know, that person might relapse. You know, relapse is a part of recovery. But you have to be, you know, someone that's just, if you're a friend, be a fucking friend. Like, it's at the end of the day, like, this is what it is. Like, you gotta be a friend, like, if this is what's gonna happen, you know, and if this is somebody that you truly love and care about, you know, at some point, like, you know, her rock bottom and his rock bottom is different than mine. I never stole anything from someone, you know, so that you gotta understand that the rock bottoms are gonna be different, and you have to allow them to reach that rock bottom, but also, you know, be a gentle hand to support them and encourage them and love them, and really plant those seeds of recovery, because by doing that, you are really saving someone. But by listening to what everybody else is saying and saying, giving up on them and lose hope and everything like that, that's bullshit. Don't do that.
After that, that's bullshit.
Thank you. Hashtag bullshit.
A lot of people say you are who you hang around, so your question has a lot to do with your
For me, no, because my mother was an addict and an alcoholic, and alcoholism had a deep effect on my family. So as a child, I was very family centered, and I grew up with a family where, you know, on a hot day in the summertime, it's nothing to crack open a Corona for real. You know, it's raining, okay, everybody wants to sit in the house and get drunk. You know, fish fries are for beer. You know, so I was raised in a family where drinking was a normal part of life. And I deeply internalized that, and I was afraid to do hard drugs because I saw my mother. So it was like dope bad, alcohol good. And so I went the other way. Exactly, but I still had those addictive behaviors. So anything that I used, I was going to use in excess. And I purposely didn't use Molly and E and everything because I knew I would like it. I would love it, and I was going to go off the deep end with it. So I purposely stayed away from it, but dove right into that swimming pool of liquor that Kendrick talks about.
And the support system also helps you out a lot, so you didn't have one?
No, because alcohol is one of the most dangerous addictions because it's normalized in our society. Almost everyone drinks. So in treatment, they wanted me to actually move to Florida, and I was like, why? When there's a liquor store down here too. So it's nowhere. It's nowhere. The recovery has to be inside of you, and you just have to get to a point where you just don't want to do it anymore. One of the reasons why Dante asked me to be on this panel is because I've been very open about my recovery process, and that's to tell them myself, to let people know this is what I was doing, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore, and I need you to hold me accountable. So I've built a support system for myself.
So thank you. Yeah, y'all can clap. Y'all can clap. Don't be scared.
Don't be long-winded. All right, this for Prince. What was your limit? What was the day you said, I just had enough and I just need to change?
I would say I had lost my job. My birthday was February 5th. I lost my job February the 8th. In a result, because I was getting high. Between February 8th until about maybe May the 5th, I was calling my parents. By the way, my mother and father are back there also. I was asking, you know, and I had made some good money in my time of working at the time. And so once I started to see, I remember the guy who I was getting high with, he used to say, you know, eventually these things are going to happen. And then when we get high and, you know, do what we do. And I remember he used to say something to me, he used to say, well, what kind of man do you want to be? And, you know, do you want to get high right now or do you want to go to work? And me being in my addiction. It was rough. It was rough. You know, but we got lit. We got lit. Not to glamorize it, but it was a dangerous game. And I can remember there was a time when I had asked my father, I said, you know, hey, I need some money. And you know, he had already given me his car because the car was gone. You know, I couldn't pay my rent.